This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Icon Podcast. I'm your host, Gianna, and thank you to our sponsors, Sphere Rocket VA, for making another episode possible. Today we get to talk to Karl, and I'm really excited to do that. Karl, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I guess take us back to the beginning. You know, who are you? Where are you from? Where are you located now? How'd you find yourself in the world of real estate?
Oh, that's an easy enough story. So my name is Karl, and I'm a real estate agent in St. John's, Newfoundland in Canada, and I've been selling real estate for 22 years now. The way I got into this business was kind of funny, actually. I was in the restaurant business as a waiter for 10 years, and I had just gotten laid off from the restaurant, and it was in February of all months, which is really hard time to find any work in the restaurant business. Mm-hmm. So I went to see a good friend of mine who was a broker with a real estate company here in the city. And when 2 hours after the conversation started and he told me all the bad things about real estate, I looked at him and said, "Great, where do I sign up and how do I get a license?"
Right on. And people that come from the food industry, I've been a waitress for years myself. We seem to be the type to come over to this industry and really rock it. And obviously you're an Icon agent, so that holds true for you, Karl.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit. I was joking with someone who I'm trying to recruit the other day, and I said, you're in the service industry, so it's a good mix, right? You can go to a different table and you can have a different conversation than the one you just left. It's a lot like real estate in that, you go look at a house one day and you go look at a condo the next day, and the conversation has to be totally different about what the client's needs are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, that's so true. And, every day is different in real estate, and you just got to be there with a big smile on your face and problem solving and ready to get through the weeds. So Karl, did you start with EXP, or how did you get introduced to EXP as a brokerage?
No, I actually started with Coldwell Banker and then moved to Remax, and that move to Remax was interesting, and that sort of brings me around to the EXP move, because when I moved to Remax, it was all about trying to get a better brand for Karl Sorensen, right? And then I guess it was 2.5 years ago, I went and sat down with the broker here in the city, Nevin Hollett, and had a coffee with him. And, he told me all the great things about it. And I wasn't quite convinced that I wanted to get away from a big brand. And so over the next 12 months, I really did a lot of research on how to sort of, was brand as important as what I thought it was? And so I guess I should qualify that by saying, here in St. John's, it's one of the capital cities in Canada, but it's a very small town when it all boils down to it. So, we still had a real reliance on, or so I thought, on, branding. And then like I said, I did a 1-year self research on, was branding really as important from the real estate company as opposed to Karl Sorensen? Wasn't I the brand? I'd been selling real estate for 22 years. Shouldn't that have gotten me a brand? And then I realized, after talking to some real good friends of mine who are in the marketing business, that, I actually am the brand. And so I went back to Nevin and I begged and pleaded and said, can I go back last year and join up? Because I want to get into EXP now, back then, not now. And anyway, so I made the switch right away, and it's been a great move. I actually, believe it or not, had my best year by about 35% that I've ever had.
Wow. That's really incredible. 35%?
Yeah.
And do you credit that to EXP, or what do you credit that to here?
I totally credit to EXP because, I took the system that was in place, which is mostly online, facilitation, and I took that and turned it into the business, right? It was just so much easier, right? As opposed to the good old days when you go knock on a door or pick up a phone and call someone. EXP makes it super easy to get out there with the online instruction that we have.
Right. No, absolutely. Karl, with being introduced to EXP and all the excitement that it brings you and, being able to level up your production, it's been a great experience for you. But what makes you really say, I am never leaving EXP? We've got stock options, rev share, the collaboration. What really sticks out to you about it?
I think that it's just the way that we're tending to go now with technology. And I think that's the thing that's going to keep me at EXP until I decide that I don't want to do it anymore. I really love to travel, and some of that travel is just around the province here. And in order to be able to do my job effectively, the tools that EXP has given me, just from grabbing my iPad or my laptop and going to, for 4 or 5 days out to the west coast of the island here, it's so much easier to be able to do your business. Listen, we all know that real estate is face to face, and you got to be able to go and meet sellers and buyers. But, all that other stuff that we don't like to do, and this is what I try and tell all my friends who are in real estate, EXP has made it easier to do that from anywhere in the world.
Right, absolutely. And it's like international. It's super exciting. And, you can build a team from, I think we've got partners in Italy, Australia. It's intense, the amount of growth that EXP is facing. And it's exciting too to come aboard and see the teams that you could build and the referrals that you can get and everything else. And so that being said, Karl, it's a busy industry, and there's no lack of things to do or learn at EXP, especially as an icon agent. You've got high production. You've got to be given back culturally. I'm sure you've got an upline, but maybe a downline that you're focusing on building, whatever else it is. But at the end of the day, Karl, how do you take care of yourself? How do you make sure that you are not on full burnout mode all the time and you're trying to chase, what you can make best of a work-life balance?
Yeah, that's a real thing. And again, I do try and mentor new agents, and that's the real one that I try and get across to them, because, the hardest thing to do is try and say to yourself, how do I take some me time? And,
right.
When the great thing about a 35% increase is that your bank account goes up, but the problem is you've got less time, so I try and just make sure that the work that I do towards real estate is sort of, I treat it like a 9 to 5 job, but not 9 to 5. I say to myself, when I get up in the morning with a cup of coffee in my hand, I sit at the computer and make sure that an hour's worth of work minimum is done. And then, then you say to yourself, okay, great, I got all that work done. And, showings don't start until this time. So now I'm going to take a little time and I'm going to go, do whatever. I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to go walk the dogs, or I'm going to do something, I'm going to sit on the couch and watch, whatever. It doesn't matter. Right.
So something that will recharge you.
Yeah, it's always good, right? You got to be able to regenerate. And certainly, again, for people like you and me who are in the service industry, if I really want to boost, I'll go get a coffee out of the house instead of in the house. So you got the buzz of people around you. I don't even really need to talk to anybody. I just want to hear the buzz. And that's certainly what, in real estate, it's good to be seen as well as it is good to be heard, right? So I'll go out for a bite of lunch, take a friend for lunch, or go for a coffee by myself. And at least you're out and about in the city. And again, because we are still a small town, you want people to see you so you can remind them, if they do think real estate, oh yeah, I saw Karl at the Have a Java the other day for a coffee. So that's pretty cool. And, so that's kind of the approach that I take for downtime and, still somewhat sneakily working.
Karl, would you consider yourself an extrovert?
You think?
Just a little bit. Just know, it takes one to know one. And, myself, the way that I recharge is, some people are like, oh, well, like I like to read a book by the TV and just, relax. And I'm like, I like to go to hockey games where there's 20,000 other people and a beer in my hand. And that is how I recharge. And I the next day I'm like re-energized. I'm ready to go. If I'm on burnout mode, I need to be around people and people I enjoy. And just the little natural networkers we are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The Predators jersey gives that away, by the way, Gianna.
Yeah. Can you tell what I'm doing tonight, guys? Do you know? Don't need to be any more obvious about that. And it's incredible. And it's really, you never know who you're going to meet in the seat next to you and create warm leads. And it's fun. I love it. And it's a good industry for us, food people to come over to, Karl.
Absolutely.
And, I'd like to know a little bit more details about your iconing experience, right? And so in your market, because it could be a little different than, what people are facing in New York, where you can buy a cardboard box for $10 billion.
Right.
So obviously you're going to have a little bit of a difference of how many houses you have to sell to icon. So we don't have to talk crazy numbers, but about how many houses does it take for you to get to that?
Yeah, so I think the number, and again, because I look at these things and I look at them at the end of the year, and I've got a weird end of year as opposed to the January 1st. But yeah, 35 ends here in St. John's get you icon. And so, that was a part of it too, Gianna. When I was looking at the numbers, I didn't jump over to EXP because of the rev share, but it was certainly something that I had to consider. And
Right.
when I looked at the numbers and thought to myself, okay, great. So I'm going to make this move. I'm not moving because of it, but if I can, how many years have I done? And I just took my 10-year average just because it was easier. And I looked at the numbers and then I looked at it and said, oh, wait now. There was okay, so there was 3 of those 10 years I made that number. There was 4 of those 10 years I was 1 or 2 short. And wow, what a motivation that would be to say to yourself at the end of the year as you're coming into your year end going, hey, if I had just gotten a little bit more out of this year. So I think that the whole icon experience for me is maybe it's just another kick in the backside to get you.
You're fine.
Yeah, okay, cool. But a kick in the ass just to say, hey, you got to go to work today because you're going to get icon status, which comes with a lot of cool things. I'm going to Vegas in October. So, I can't see myself going, oh, well, I got 32 ends this year. I think I'll just sit on the couch and not do anything else. You really want to get there, right? So I think that's a really cool thing.
Right. And, it makes you excited to, hit that goal. Not only are you hitting production and, obviously making a paycheck for yourself, but it's just really exciting because of all the opportunities that come with it. Tell me another brokerage or anywhere else that gives you the opportunity to really earn your cap back. Or, you are like, well, your stock went down over at EXP. That doesn't really matter. Like the fact is that we're getting it back, right? So I would love for anybody out there listening thinking, oh, we're superior to EXP, to go to their broker and be like, hey, I'd like my cap back, and report back. Let me know how that conversation goes.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, of course.
Not gonna go well for you.
And listen, it's funny, right? Because when I left Remax, the broker's assistant came to me and he was like, Karl, listen, you don't buy into the hype at EXP, and what you're getting sold might be a bill of goods. And there was 2 things I said to him when that happened. I said, well, first of all, I'd just like to say, I thought you had a little bit more respect for me than that I would just all of a sudden one day decide that I'm leaving and then do it without actually doing my due diligence. And
right.
The second part was, as soon as I closed my first end with EXP, I called him up and said, I just got $250 in EXP stocks. He said, that's not very much. And I said, well, you guys gave me nothing. And so you're right. It's not very much, but it's a really nice gesture for doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
And so I joke all the time with agents. What's that?
I said, just the opportunity is incredible itself as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I love that. And Karl, as a big part of being an icon agent, it's not all about production. You really have to make sure that you're giving back to EXP as a culture, right? And
Right.
so, are you a mentor? Do you vet other icons? Do you teach an EXP world? What avenue do you take to give back to EXP?
I decided to go for the mentoring because I believe that that's, I, the problem and the great thing about real estate is that, we're in a situation where there's not a lot of training. And when you go to a different brokerage, there's not a lot of ways to learn how to do the job. Now, there is another couple in the city that I do know that they do great mentoring programs, right? But I chose that because, and funny enough, I went for coffee this morning with my fella that I'm going to be mentoring, right? And just to sit and say hello to him. And the conversation I had was, you got to learn how to do this job right, because if you're good at what you do, then other agents will want to work with you. And we're really in a situation with this market right now where I just last week wrote 3 offers on multiple. I was in 3 multiple bid situations. And if you're good at your job and you're friendly with the other agent, that really goes a long way when him or her is sitting in front of a seller going, well, this guy knows what he's at, and this guy, well, I've done a deal with him before, and the finance letter was late and the home inspection was late, but with Karl got it all on time, and it was great. It was a great experience. So Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, you get to decide which offer we take, but these 2 are identical offers, and this agent is good at what he does, and this one I don't know. So I think that that's a big deal so for me to teach that to other people, I think, that's just a joy, right?
No, absolutely. It is a joy. And, that's the cool thing about EXP as well, right? So you don't feel like you have to keep your secrets to your chest. You're excited to sit down with these people and share. And that is just an opportunity that you're not going to catch anywhere else with real estate, because the competition is fierce.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about this industry, because everybody thinks that, like, you want every deal and you want every sale, and yeah, sure, but that's not possible, right? So you got to really just take it. You just move along and hope that you're going to get the business, and if not, you really hope that on the other end, the guy or the girl that you're dealing with is really good at what they do. So from a mentoring perspective, I want to mentor. So when I do a deal with this guy that I'm mentoring, that when he's ready to write a deal, he doesn't have to miss something or make a mistake and potentially cost himself a deal. So I'm all about, let's get everybody in the business. I'm all about embracing, right? And making it better for everybody.
No, absolutely. And that's incredible. And it speaks a lot about, the culture that EXP works so hard. I mean, like, so hard to really bring together, because it's not something that you're going to find anywhere else. And that's in corporate America or, as a 1099 real estate agent. It's so hard to create a culture like this that's so inclusive, that's so excited, that has so much collaboration. And I think it's incredible to have a requirement for the icons to give back to the community, because ultimately, if you don't want an icon and you still want to be doing the production, fine. You don't have to do the cultural work, whatever, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Because you still can.
And the nice thing about it is, like, I've got to be on these, because I'm in the mentor program, I've got to be on these bi-weekly meetings, and I'm learning things about real estate after 22 years that I'm like, yeah, okay, that's pretty cool, because I'm talking to agents all across my country here, and they're giving me some information, and I'm actually making connections as well, because there's much like you guys, there's a lot of crossover in states and provinces where people are moving all the time, and I have a connection with some of these people that I'm talking to every other week, and it's nice to be able to say, well, I have a friend in Saskatchewan or in Vancouver or Toronto that I can send you to this agent, and they're really going to give you great service, right? And so, I'm, like I said, I'm learning things from these meetings, and I'm making new friends, and I think that's a really good thing that EXP offers, right?
No, absolutely. And like, so being an icon agent too is like those friends can, or, when you're looking to refer out those friends, right? And you're like, man, like, I really want somebody that's reliable. I really enjoy these clients. I want this to be a good rep on me. Who on earth do
Right.
I refer them to? And like you have trust that your icon agents out there are just going to be the best of the best. They're going to take care of
Yeah,
your
that's
clients.
right. Absolutely, absolutely. And again, like I said, everything reflects back on you when you refer anybody, a plumber, electrician, or a real estate agent, right? So if, like I said, that if you're an icon agent, you know what you're doing, and you've gotten to that point for a reason, right? That just doesn't happen accidentally. It happens because you put the work in, and your clients love working with you, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's like, it's a, what is it? Like just like a chain reaction where it just all starts to come together and everything just starts coming down the pipeline to you. And iconing, I mean, there's really no harm in it. Iconing is incredible. And Karl, you know what? As an icon agent, it's a lot of work, right? And maybe you've got like a good downline going, right? Like I talked to an icon agent that makes $8,000 to $9,000 a month off of their downline, right? So maybe you
Right.
don't need to be doing the production of iconing. Maybe you could be focusing on mentorship or whatever, but you continue to icon and work towards that. And why is that? What about the icon award makes you say, man, I want to do this again next year and next year? Because it's like, is it the glass award? Is it the fact you get to go to EXPCon? What is your favorite aspect of it?
It's totally because I get to go to Vegas. Come on, of course.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And now I'm waiting desperately to find out what the schedule is for the NFL, right? And so, no, but well, listen, I think it's a combination of all those things. I think it's a chance to do the conferences where I'm going to learn some stuff. I think it's nice to be recognized by your peers for reaching some sort of level of just doing your job, and this is a real bonus too, because you get to sit in on these sorts of things, and you get to chat with people that you normally wouldn't, right?
Right. No, and it's super fun. And like, of course, EXPCon and shareholders and, the opportunity to not always be the smartest in the room, right? You never
Right.
want to be the smartest in the room. And at EXP, that's really never a problem. If you want to learn, if you want to pick somebody's brain, the world is at your fingertips. Easy peasy.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I've already done that. Like, you go into the EXP world and you ask a question, and there's 50 people who want to give you an answer, right? So, that's the type of environment that I really like. And that's the type of environment that, you don't get at the other companies, because there's not the same online presence that EXP has put into it, right? I mean,
Right.
EXP Holdings is more than just real estate. And so, they've created this environment to make it easier for one arm of their business to succeed, right? By using other arms, So I think that's really important.
No, I agree. It is really important. And, EXP has really learned how to leverage this industry and, give realtors the opportunity to retire and to have nest eggs and invest. And I think it's really cool, right? Like especially as myself, recently licensed, very new real estate agent, obviously very fortunate to be interacting with the best of the best every day with EXP. But, something as a young real estate agent, I'm like, I don't know stocks. They don't teach that in college, and for EXP to be giving these opportunities to young people joining their brokerage and to have a mentorship lineup and everything else in between, it's just really incredible for, anybody, anywhere they stand in their career.
Well, listen, and Gianna, you're 100% right. And, the one thing that I would look back on and say, gee, if I only could have, I look at 22 years and think to myself, if I could have started with EXP, what a difference my level of savings would be right now. And what a difference it would have made, just from the perspective of the mentoring and the online help that you got. I just think to myself, what a difference my situation would be today versus what it is today, right?
Right.
and I'm certainly not complaining. I've lived a very good real estate career, but again, for a young person who's thinking like yourself, I'd like to get into real estate. Well, my advice to you is, in 22 years, you're going to go, what a great move it was. And, I've got so much more wealth and so much more knowledge that it was totally worth it. Right.
Right. No, absolutely. And like, that's the thing too, is I swear if I could hear one thing in this podcast more than anything else, honestly, so much so I should get it as a neon light, Karl, is I wish I had done it sooner. I wish I had made the move to EXP sooner. And I get that because I mean, like, look at where the stock was, look at where it is now. It's just crazy. It's really just, been a substantial amount of growth, and it's exciting, and people want to be here and build their downlines and everything else. And for the people to say, I wish I'd done it sooner, I get it. I do too, right? And that's why, of course, as a new agent, I'm EXP immediately. You don't stand it.
Sorry about that. Dogs in the background.
He also has something to say about EXP.
Yeah,
if you want
they
to go
always
get
got
it.
something to say, my dogs. There's someone at the door, obviously.
No, it's okay.
So this is great. My dogs let me know that there's someone at the door, and this is a closing that happened today, and I'm getting keys dropped in my mailbox. So I'm talking to you. I'm getting keys dropped off. I'm getting paid. Wow, this is like the best day ever.
Business is
If I was going to the hockey game with you, it couldn't have gotten any better.
Karl, I wish you were. And when you're in Nashville, you let me know, because that's my favorite pastime out here, is being everybody's personal Nashville tour guide. I love this city. This city was made for me.
I love it. Are you from there or?
No, I'm actually from Colorado. So I moved to Nashville middle of 2020 for God knows why. I don't know why I did it. It was the middle pandemic. Everything was closing at 9 p.m. But it was just time to leave hometown, and I haven't looked back. I love it out here, and it's been fun to see the city come back to life. I'm in the process of buying a house, which is horrible because the housing market's just crazy out here, and I can buy a closet in somebody else's house for about $300,000. So I'm really excited about that.
I can imagine.
But I don't know what's worse, the housing market or rent. So, we're just weighing out which evil is greater here. Which is probably,
and that's the thing. And I see that, and I talk to a lot of people, real estate agents across the country. And I was talking to an agent today, even in this city. And that's a big thing from a real estate perspective, right? When the rents start to drive, then, you look at your situation and you go, well, maybe now is the time to buy real estate, because what am I going to do? I'm throwing this money away. Am I going to just keep doing that? Or am I going to actually get into the game and, have something to show for it at the end of it?
Right. No, absolutely. And it's like, that's where I'm at too. I'm like, holy smokes, rent is $1,800, for a 2-bedroom, it's getting up to $2,400. I'm like, this is insane. I'm like, I could have a beautiful home for a mortgage that high right now, but I won't qualify for it because why would? When I can pay rent that high, but I can't pay a mortgage that high. I don't know. Anyway, so silly.
Get it. Bangers. That's a different show.
Not my circus, not my monkeys, except I am the monkey in the circus, it feels like right now.
Sadly, you are now.
Well, Karl, I'd like to talk a little bit about, like scenarios, right, for you. Sure. So let's do this, and it's not far off. So I'm brand new to real estate. I just got my license. Everything's in the process, getting on board with EXP. Awesome. Blah, 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 blah. Let's say that's all said and done. I'm on your team. I'm working with Karl, you're my mentor, and I come up to you. I haven't even written an offer yet. And I'm like, Karl, I want an icon this year. All right. I had an icon referred to it as a come to Jesus talk. Would you have to me to set some realistic expectations, goals, and, just a roadmap? Is that even possible for a first year?
Well, yeah, sure it is, Gianna. I mean, everything is possible.
Oh, did I lose you?
Just
Are you still there?
matter. What's that?
What is some advice that you would give me as a first year trying to icon?
Yeah, listen, it's really it's a lot to ask in your first year, but real estate is one of the business that you actually, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And I know that's a cliche, but it's so true. Like, now that we're coming out of the pandemic, you got open houses that you can do. You've got, I mean, so many tools that EXP offers you with the online assistance on how to make sure you get yourself out there. And and the key to it all is just making sure that you're constantly, make sure every morning you sit down at the computer and you do an hour's worth of work. And that hour could include just putting stuff on your social media site. It could be reaching out. We've got this new agent every week. He sends out in our work chat, he sends out who's got an open house for me to do. And so he does that every week. And so he does an open house every week. And, so I think that that's the way you can get yourself to that, right? Because it's great to get yourself out there on social media and all that. But the only way that people are going to know whether or not they want to work with Gianna is to be in front of you and to get into open houses. And like you said, when you're at the hockey game tonight, if you go for a beer before and you go for one after, then, make sure that the people that you're standing around know that you're going to actually, that this is what I do for a living and that I can help you. And the key to it all is not to tell anybody you're a first timer and make sure everybody thinks you're a pro. Because if they think you're an icon, then they want to work with you. And if they think you're a newbie, they're going to say, well, maybe I should wait. But, nobody needs to know how many years experience you got, because the one thing that me and this guy talked about this morning when we met for coffee was, how do I get people to believe that I'm a professional by being in the business for just a very short time? And I said, well, most everybody talks today on text or email. And so you make sure when he or she asks you a question about real estate, you get the right answer and don't ever guess at it, and reach out to the resources you have at EXP. And once you've got the right answer, you can text them back or email them back. And if they think that you're taking too long, just tell them, well, I've got other appointments too. And that actually doubles up because it makes it look like you're a busy agent and you can't just answer every time he emails or texts you.
But Karl, so, like you said, it's good to, fake it till you make it. Make sure you are asking the right questions. We're getting the right answers. We're building that credibility. Nobody has to know you're a complete newbie, but we want to be honest to an extent, right?
Absolutely, of course, right? Again, there's nobody and again, 22 years experience, I still have to go and talk to people about the right answer. I don't have all the answers. Like you said earlier, you don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. You just want to be a guy or a girl who can go get the answer for what the question is. So that makes you the smartest person in the room. You
just want to be somebody that the people know, like, and love, right? And and 100%. Trust especially.
Well, so the trust is the big part of this. This job is all about relationships, and relationships are built on trust.
Yep. Absolutely. And whether that sparks with social media or grabbing a coffee or just whoever's in line behind you at the beer stand, right? Just start up that conversation, and it doesn't hurt to say hello. And Karl, to bring me to my last question here, for anybody that may be watching right now, they're on the fence about EXP and they see the greener grass, they see all these great things and opportunities that you have, like stock options and EXP Con and all these awesome things. But, the brokerages out there are scared. They're scared to lose their little affiliates, right? So they're like, oh, you don't want to go over to EXP. They're a cult. They're a pyramid scheme. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. So what would you have to say to somebody that's watching right now? Maybe they're doing a little bit of research about EXP and they're nervous to make that jump.
Well, there's a couple of things I'd say. And the first thing I'd say is I wish I had done it sooner. I mean, and that's truly the way I feel about this, right? And, listen, I know that the situation that I put myself in with the online support and the ease of putting deals into my computer to make it so much more enjoyable for lawyers and bankers and, auditors if you get audited. But the main staff at EXP, who's constantly telling me I missed this or missed that, but it's just so easy to do it, right? Because nowadays, it used to be different when we had to go in and drop contracts off to people, physical contracts off. Now everything is emailed anyways. So for me to sit here on a Monday morning and do my paperwork, or a Tuesday morning, I get to put it all into the computer. So it's right there and I got it at my fingertips. So again, I wish I had done it earlier, and it's just so much easier to be an EXP agent.
And is there anything you want to leave the listeners with today as we wrap it up? And of course, I'll be seeing you and hunting you down at EXPCon to get connected and pick your brain. But until then, is there any note you want to leave off on here?
No, I just really want to say thanks a lot to EXP and to you, actually, for letting me have this opportunity to get on and talk about real estate and EXP. I just joked with a new client today that I'm a real EXP, or I'm a real estate junkie and nerd. I love it. I like talking about real estate. I like doing real estate. So, I think that anybody that was interested in getting into real estate, this is a good opportunity with EXP. It's reinvigorated my career and made me happy to do what I do.
Absolutely. Karl, it has been a pleasure talking to you today, and I look forward to crossing paths again with you real soon, okay?
I'd love to do that. Excellent. You enjoy the hockey game.
Thanks, Karl. Talk to you soon.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success, and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at SphereRocketVA.com and find out how we can make your life easier.